There he is. He's back in the swing of things. Danny, the squirrel hunter. Hi, buddy. Hi, bud. Hi, bud. Boy, that doesn't look sketchy or anything. Welcome back, Sawmill, everybody. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry. And if you watched the video from yesterday, which was that Sunday logging video, and you hung on to the end, you saw when a customer showed up and I said they had some chunks of pear that they needed cut into bowl blanks. Well, the customer wanted it cut down this way, like into cookies, and I had to explain to him that he has a turner to turn the bowls for him, and I guess an experienced turner that somehow cannot break down these small chunks of wood. But I had to explain to him that's not how a bowl blank works. How a bowl blank works is you take a log like this, you cut it in half, and your bowl comes out of the section like this, basically. So you have the flat section, you attach your faceplate to that, to your lathe, you spin it this way, you turn your bottom with your little tenon on it, or a mortise, either way, whatever you want to chuck it up with on the other direction, how you want your bowl to look, and you flip it around after this profile's done and you hollow out the inside. So we need to cut this piece of pear right here in half. Now, if this looks sketchy, I'm with you. This is pretty sketchy. I'm hoping, and it feels like I have it clamped tight enough to do this. We're going to hope. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to shave this little bump off up here to see how it behaves. And if it behaves well, we're going to go ahead and try to, I know you can't see the other side, but where the pith is on the other side, there's a hole. We're going to try and saw right through the middle of this, right through that hole to split the pith, because usually bowl turners want to turn that out in the inside of the bowl chunk here and get rid of it, and then just have the solid wood on the outside. If you cut it into cookies and you turn the bowl out of it that way, you'd have all your grain fibers running straight through the bowl, and it would be more like a sieve than a bowl. It wouldn't be watertight. So this is typically how you do it. You turn your bowl out like that. Most good turners have a jig on their inside bandsaw that they can take this blank, drill a little hole in it, put it down on their bandsaw and spin it so it actually cuts a round blank out of this chunk so that they don't have so many interrupted cuts. And hopefully he has that. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half and then maybe cut it down to length, or maybe cut it into two blanks. We're going to see how it comes out. So I'm going to take you along for the ride to see if this thing goes flinging off and we wreck a band. I also have another log to do, and we're going to have to come up with a custom setup for that one to see how it's going to hold. But I think the other one, is going to bridge two stops here. Well, this one is not bridging two stops. So the possibility is high that when the band comes in, it's going to want to twist like this. And then when the band gets past the clamp, it's going to want to twist the other way. And I'm hoping that it's hard enough in here that that's not going to happen. If I go really slow, keep the cutting pressure down, I think this will be okay. If it's not okay, he's got more chunks of pear up at his other house, and he uses this stuff for cooking. So he said, if something goes haywire, I realize it's too small for the mill, and I could just cut this in half with a chainsaw, but that'd be a lot of work for the turner to true up the chainsaw side. So this is the best way to do it. Let's see if we can pull it off. So I'm going to give you the best video angle that I can, and we're going to see if we can pull this off. We get the mill fired up. We're going to try and shave off that top piece first. And we're going to see how the good Lord is going to treat us right now. So All right, let's see if this one chunk will come off right there. I'm at like 14 here. All right, so the good news is it didn't move. It cut nice and smooth. It cut it off like a piece of cake. So let's try for the money cut. Let's see what happens. That's just a little high. All right, that's right through the pith. Let me just go ahead and just give it a feel just to make sure it didn't shake loose. Okay, it still feels pretty good. We're going to try and cut right through the middle of it and see what happens. I'm going to go nice and slow, keep the band speed up, and take as little off as I can while I'm going. There's my stop. Awesome. That's awesome. I'll give you a look at the inside of this. That's great. That turned out perfect. This is going to be a nice bowl blank right here. Beautiful. We cut right through that pith where it's going to get hollowed out. That worked out wonderful. It's beautiful wood. Absolutely gorgeous. This is going to work out great. So you can actually see the medullary rays in the pear right through there and right through there. But that's all going to get hollowed out, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut off this side and maybe a little bit on this side and do the same thing to that one to make it kind of into a square blank about. So whatever this width is, I want this to be kind of similar. So we'll just true up this end. We'll true up this end. We'll probably do that afterwards, maybe even off camera, because that'll be on with chainsaws. I'll probably clamp them right back in the same spot and then just cut down with a chainsaw and use the bottom board as a buffer to bump into. But yeah, that worked out great. That Stella cut band cut it perfect. And now I kind of know from doing this one what to expect for cutting pressures. And it kind of makes me optimistic that we can pull off that other one too and get them some real nice blanks out of these. So let me shut you guys off for a second. I'm going to get these off. I really have to watch my language. I'm going to get these off. I'm going to take these off the mill, put the other one on, try to come up with a basic setup for it, and bring you right back. Okay, number 2. Kind of feels good. I actually have the other backstop up. Now what that other backstop, being able to put that in there, what that does is that this first half of the cut is supported. So we don't have to worry in the first half of the cut about it going crazy. It's just once it gets past this clamp and wanting to twist the other way, hopefully we can keep our cutting pressure down and pull this off. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to come in, I'm going to shave this chunk off right here, kind of level the top. Then I'm going to come up 6 inches off the board. You got to measure, make a line. And we're going to cut, that's cutting this straight in half. All right, so actually there's a nick on the tree right where it needs to be. Okay, perfect. There's actually a nick on the tree where from a chainsaw that is right at that 6 inches. Obviously it's 6 inches plus the thickness of that board, so it's really like 7. Well, let's go ahead and take the top off it, see how it wants to behave. Hopefully it feels really solid. I think it's fine. And then we'll cut this one in half, and then we'll be almost there. Then we can, I got to take out my little saw and I got to sharpen it really quick. And then we're going to block them into blocks. Why do I keep putting my stupid tape measure down? Things would be a lot simpler if I didn't. All right, so I have plenty of clearance there. That's 12 right there, but so it's really like 13. It's like 13. Let's try it at 13, and then we'll cut it in half. So that worked out really well. Now we're gonna just give it a wiggle, make sure it didn't shake loose. And it feels really solid, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna come up to the mark that's on that's about 7 inches up and cut this thing right in half. And that looks like it. We're clear of the stops. Let's go ahead and try it. Now it's going perfectly fine right now, but I want to tell you guys, if you do something like this, if you see that log wiggle, stop and check it out and make sure it's clamped good, because when it goes to hell in a handbasket, it goes really fast. The teeth are going to grab, if it comes loose, the teeth are going to grab it, they're going to smash it into that side of the mill, bend the band all the hell, and it's going to happen in the blink of an eye. So let's see if we can keep our cutting pressure down, finish this out. We're doing pretty good. I want to back up just a bit so I'm not engaging in the wood. All right. Oh, pretty little log. Hopefully, any of these cracks and checks in it are going to work out for a bowl. It looks like there are some bug holes in it, so the turner is going to have to be careful of that. I think our best opportunity is to avoid these checks in the end and cut this off. Probably make sure we get a good blank out of the center of this, and then just give them the rest of it. So this is going to be our blank here, right here. It's probably the most solid part. And we'll probably do the same thing on the other one. We'll still give them this piece and give them this piece, but I think this piece is going to be junk just because there's so many checks in the end. But let me get my little saw out and we will sharpen it up, and then we'll cut these blanks down. All right, so I'm not going to turn this into a sharpening video. I'm just going to hone these out. I've been cutting firewood with this saw and that pile over there, and sometimes when you cut down through the slabs, you're hitting some dirt and stuff like that. So I just want to put an edge on this, but just one little tip for you guys, even on these little quarter pico or these small micro chains, if you can fit a 7/32 file, the big file that you use for your normal 3/8 chains, if you can fit a 7/32 file between the drags and the tooth, and you want your teeth to last a long time and get sharp really quick, use this. This will be the last time that I file with a small file on this chain. From then on, I'll use 7/32. It creates a real durable hook angle, and it makes a very durable tooth, and it still gets sharp and it works great. So even though these chains call for the little file, that you don't need to use the little file. Now I'm just gonna wipe these out really fast. I just want to keep the cutting pressure down. The sharper they are, the less cutting pressure I'm going to have. If you've got dull teeth beating against it, that's going to create a lot of cutting pressure. I'm just eyeballing the like 25 degrees. Now these probably call for something closer to 30, even 35. Oh, get some damage on a couple teeth. I knew I did. I could feel it cutting the other day, cutting a limb off a big tree. But I just like using 25 just because my eyes see it so well and I'm so used to it. I'm not really changing the length of these teeth at all unless there's a little bit of damage on the corner, and then this is a semi-chisel chain, so it doesn't take a lot to get it sharp. That's one side. Just so you're not watching my back, I'll change your view. Just going to breeze through the other side. If you don't like to watch sharpening, then go ahead and fast forward through the video and you get to see me cut the pear up. All right, so I broke this down the way I broke it down for a reason. So you can see the checks in the end. This is about 12 inches wide, so I'm getting a 12-inch bowl here. And then there's an angle in on the bottom here that I'm going to cut off and give him like an 8-inch chunk right here. So that one will probably be similar to this, but let's do this one and I'll bring you back after that. I think, just looking at my blue lines, that I'm clear of my metal. I think I can cut it right where it is. That didn't factor in. I actually thought that line was going to be on the metal and I was just going to move it after, but it looks like I can cut it right there. So let's go ahead and see how the saw cuts. It goes right down. I got to be a little bit careful with this cut that I don't hit that metal, so I'm just going to get it started up there. And this chunk's probably going to be no good. It's got huge cracks in it. This whole chunk's probably going to be no good. These big cracks are killers. I'm just going to clamp it back down. We'll make one more cut on it. I think these are going to be garbage. Let's see what we got. Now, it's all checked up on the outside. These are not going to be good turning blanks at all. You can see the cracks in them. That stinks. That really stinks. They were coming in from the sides on this side too, so the orientation wouldn't have mattered. You can see the cracks on here. We'll hope the other one's better, but I don't have high hopes for it. That's not good. And those, I'm sure, go all the way through. That's really too bad. All right, let's see how the little chunk goes. Same thing, pretty cracked. Let's get it clamped back down. We'll cut the blanks out of it. Same thing. That's too bad. That's really too bad. It's got a lot of cracks in it. Now these ones right here, they do appear that they might end right here. So maybe you can get something out of the center. The other ends, the other end, they're not that bad. Well, let's cut up the other small one and we'll see what happens. The saw is cutting great. I just want to let you guys know I'm trying to keep real light pressure on it and just let it fall straight down so I get a nice straight cut, which isn't super critical that it's a straight cut because they're going to have to be turned into rounds anyway. But like I've always said, if you're going to do something for a customer, at least you got to make it look like it's somewhat of a professional job. So we're just trying to cube this thing off. This mark here, just trying to get kind of square to the log. And then something that's 12, it's right there. 12 is kind of like right there. And that gives them a nice 12-inch block. And let's see if we can cut this one off. Hopefully, fewer cracks. We're going to find out. There's an awful lot of cracks in it. They don't look too bad on this end. They look pretty bad here. I don't know. All right, let's buck this one up. So I kind of want to get the 12-inch piece out of the best part here. So we're going to start here and we're going to go to here. That's going to leave them like 9 inches over there and like 10 inches over here. So we're going to start with that. And I'm going to true this end also. So that 10 inches is actually going to be smaller. Just something that's remotely close to square. And we'll move it so that it's not going to hit our clamps. It's right there, should work fine. And I might actually cut these from the other side so I don't have to deal with hitting this clamp. the inside of this one looks like. Not that bad. Might be a bowl in this one. Not that bad on this side either, so you might get a bowl out of this. This one, not that bad here. There's a few cracks in it. This one's not crazy bad either. There are some cracks out here, but there's still probably a pretty good bowl in that right there, maybe. So let's do an outro. Quick little view of the bowl blanks that we got out of that. And cut properly, just it's not the best wood. So thanks for coming along for the ride on that little job. Danny and I do have to go in and eat something. I didn't eat yesterday until like 8 o'clock last night. Crazy. But we have to go in and eat something. I do have a log, big long straight pitch pine queued up on the sawmill to cut into construction lumber, which is going to be the next thing that we cut. But I wanted to knock that out for this guy in case he's in town today. I don't know if he left yesterday or if he's in town today and he won't pick them up until next weekend. But I'm going to send him a picture of all of them and let him know. Quick little job, you know, make $100. And it's just unfortunate that they are the way they are. But maybe if you don't know how to cut bowl blanks, you learned a little something. That is the correct way to cut bowl blanks. And then typically, if you're like I am, you have a jig that goes on your bandsaw to cut them into a circle. I'm going to let the turner do that just because I think some of them he's not even going to want to deal with. And if he is a real turner, he's up in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is a remarkably craftsman-like area. Hand tooly, lathes, primal woodworking, things like that. It's very expensive. But people that are going to have, you know, beautiful shops and all the tools. So I'm sure he has a jig to make them round because he has to, or he's going to turn them like that, which is just miserable to turn like that and have that interrupted cut until you get it into a round. You can cut it into an octagon and just shave the corners off and then have a semi-interrupted cut. It still stinks. The best way to do it, like I said, is I have a jig that goes on my bandsaw with a dowel hole in it. I can measure from, I can move the jig and get the pin a certain distance from the band and then basically cut a circle out of the piece with the flat side that we sawmilled down. And that's the side that gets hollowed out anyway. So you can put a little hole in the center of it for your pin on your jig. It's just a piece of plywood with a pin in it that I can move to get me a specific distance from my band. So that's pretty much it for this. I think I'm going to call this one a video. Semi-fail, but you know, it's good for me. Obviously, I'm going to get paid, but kind of stinks for the customer. I think he had high hopes for those. Maybe he'll get one bowl out of them. Maybe the guy will go ahead and turn them all and do some epoxy and stuff like that. Like, that's what I'd do. If I wanted to make those into bowls, I would do some epoxy fill on, or CA glue, fill on the cracks first and let them dry. Then rough turn it. See what the rough turn comes out like. If there are any cracks in it at that point, go ahead and fill them. You need to do something first, though. You can't just go ahead and turn it and see what the cracks look like, because your bowl would, if the cracks are really bad, it'll fly apart in the chuck. So with big cracks, it's probably better just to go ahead and put some epoxy and CA glue in them first. Let them dry up, then rough turn it, see what's left for cracks, fill those, and then finish turn it. So that's kind of the way that it should work. Hopefully he'll get something out of them. But like I said, he cooks with the wood, so he's going to take all those pieces, even the little pieces that we cut off, and he'll use that pear for smoking stuff, so which is just kind of neat. Neat guy. Thanks for the watch. If you need something from Norwood, please use my affiliate link that's in the description below. Make sure that you hit that notifications bell so that when a video comes out, you know it came out. And interact with us. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you do something different, or if you think we did something wrong, or whatever. If you like it, if you don't like it, you hate the views, the sound stinks, whatever you want. Just the more you interact with us, the better the channel does, and the bigger that we're going to get, and the more that we can give you what you want. So that's pretty much it for Danny, who's laying in the dirt over there, and myself. We're going to eat, and it's Pirate Solutions out.